Have you ever felt motivated or pressured in a way to be successful? And you put in time and effort just so you can try your best. But best is not good enough. You need to be the greatest. Well, then you're gonna want to hear this. So today we're going over the movie Him. We follow Cameron, or Cam for short, who is a rising quarterback. He has this dream of becoming his father's GOAT, or greatest of all time. Starting off the bat, we see this figure dressed in all black, almost like the Grim Reaper, but it's supposed to represent a crazy fan, or at least that's what we think. This figure hits Cam, causing an injury that would require stitches, and an instant injury that could mean the end of his career. Side note, I recently started watching football because of the Super Bowl, and honestly, it's kind of starting to get interesting, which is crazy. And because in this movie, we actually see the lengths that a player goes to become a great football player. It's actually probably more difficult than you realize to get to the lengths of being a quarterback for a big team. And honestly, I don't know that much about football, but I do know that it takes a lot of practice, grit, sweat, probably tears. But let's get back into the movie. I personally wanted to watch this movie because I loved the movie Get Out by Jordan Peele, who directed it, and he's also the producer for the movie that we're talking about today. So Cam, he accepts an invitation to train from Isaiah White, who is a veteran, and he runs this cult-like isolated compound, which we'll see in the movie. Because Cam's lifeline of his football career is on the line, and he has to heal from this injury or else it could be career ending. I have to say that there are hints of darkness and terror, that some odd things were probably happening, like this cowboy hat and this confetti, and there's these crazy protesters and even some weird events that seem like delusions, but maybe they were real or maybe not. And so Cam and Isaiah meet, they start training, getting that endurance training and football throwing practice. However, as they continue to train, we see that it demands unethical and supernatural sacrifices. Like this guy who's getting a football hit in his head multiple times if Cam does not throw his ball quick enough and for it to be caught. And so we see Isaiah's charisma turn into something much darker than we could have imagined. Because as it becomes violent, and as Isaiah makes Cam choose people to get hurt, it almost feels religious in a sense. That these people are following orders and allowing themselves to go through all this pain as if they're being controlled like pawns and being used for a greater purpose. And this sends Cam down a disorienting rabbit hole that might just cost him more than he had ever bargained for, showing the dark side of fame and just how intense the pressure to succeed can become.
He told me that they want to make you an offer. Same one they gave him 20 years ago.
But they'd have to meet you first, see if they like you, see if you fit into the Saviors culture, obviously. But I don't know, if I were you, I'd go.
I mean, you could have just started with that one.
And next, there is a party at the compound that everyone is getting dressed up for. And so Cam goes, and we see him drinking with the Savior's owners at the table. They ask if Cam is ready to sign the contract and be their quarterback and essentially replacing Isaiah. And so Cam gives some sort of a resemblance to a yes, and they cheers, and The edit makes it seem like it could be Isaiah's blood that they are drinking, as we see this split between Cam and Isaiah's perspective. Cam at the party and Isaiah feeling this need to, I guess, work out or exercise and feel like he is still the GOAT. After this drink, Cam ends up hallucinating and he goes to confront Isaiah, who he had considered to be his GOAT. And they eventually get into a violent fight since Cam is the replacement of Isaiah. Cam beats Isaiah in this confrontation with his last line saying,
"You know what's the opposite of a savior? A killer." Wrong. A mascot.
In the context of this movie, a savior represents the GOAT, a powerful figure, while a mascot is powerless and a subordinate. As in the elite and brutal world of sports, those who are not the absolute best are mere mascots, someone who just cheers from the sidelines, just destined to be forgotten. So Cam emerges from the training compound to arena where the savior's owners, Cam's agent, and Isaiah's wife, Elsie, are waiting for him to sign a contract with them. Except the contract is also a deal with the devil, as it passes the power of him to the blood of the Savior's quarterback. He refuses to sign the contract as they played a part in Cam's injury and groomed him to replace Isaiah since his youth. That Cam's father actually agreed to these terms, and his dad's death was part of this plan orchestrated to guilt Cam into playing football after he tried to quit. And Cam unleashes his strength on those involved in this demonic sacrifice, turning it into a massacre, refusing to allow players' bodies to be exploited and profited off of. I think this is an okay movie. I think it had snippets of darkness and horror, but overall I just didn't really feel that connection or a sort of relation to the main character in terms of pursuing a career in sports. This movie honestly probably relates more with those who did practice the sport for a good chunk of their life. The ending seemed more of a metaphor, with a deeper meaning to the pain and just the lengths athletes go to have a successful career. Because even though with the head injuries, enduring intense physical pain, performing strenuous activities, they continue to push their bodies and minds in order to be great.